This game of Commander is brought to you today by Decree of Pain. Decree of Pain? Decree of Insane? Welcome to a game of Commander featuring Ronnie playing my Kiki Jiki the Mirror Breaker deck, June playing my Elesh Norn Grand Cenobite deck, Chris playing Ronnie's Hazezon Tamar deck, and Rob playing his Mikaeus the Unhallowed deck. Rob goes first and keeps an opening hand of Elesh Norn, Mindless Automaton, Cadaver Imp, Bone Shredder, and 3 Swamps. Ronnie goes next and keeps an opening hand of Everflowing Chalice, Siege Gang Commander, Ancient Tomb, and 4 Mountains. June goes next and keeps an opening hand of Grand Abolisher, Conqueror's Pledge, Stone Hewer Giant, Serra Ascendant, Mana Crypt, Windbrisk Heights, and Arid Mesa. Chris goes last and keeps an opening hand of Farseek, Enlightened Tutor, Craterhoof Behemoth, Elesh Norn Grand Cenobite, Wooded Bastion, Forest, and Oran Reef the Vastwood. Rob starts the game by playing Swamp. Ronnie draws Liquid Metal Coating and plays Ancient Tomb. Ronnie taps Ancient Tomb, taking 2 damage, and casts a Liquid Metal Coating. June draws Plains and plays Arid Mesa, paying 1 life and putting Plains onto the battlefield. June plays Serra Ascendant. Chris draws Soul Ring and plays Oran Reef the Vastwood. Rob draws Buried Alive and plays Swamp. Ronnie draws Rack and Ruin and plays Mountain. June draws Plains and plays Windbrisk Heights, hiding away Captain of the Watch. June attacks Ronnie for 6 with Serra Ascendant, gaining 6 life as well. Chris draws Clifftop Retreat, plays a Wooded Bastion, and casts Soul Ring. Chris casts Farseek, finding a Sacred Foundry and putting it onto the battlefield. Rob draws Swamp and plays Swamp. Rob casts Bone Shredder, killing June's Serra Ascendant. At the end of Rob's turn, Ronnie turns one of Rob's Swamps into an artifact and Rack and Ruins Chris's Soul Ring and Rob's Swamp, destroying them both. Ronnie draws Helm of Possession and plays Mountain. Ronnie casts Everflowing Chalice and kicks it twice, taking 2 damage from Ancient Tomb. June draws Skull Clamp and plays Plains. June casts Mana Crypt and then casts Conqueror's Pledge, making 6 1/1 soldier tokens. Chris draws Lovisa Cold Eyes and plays Clifftop Retreat. Rob draws Elbrus, the Binding Blade, and plays Swamp. Rob casts Buried Alive, putting Triskelion, Shieldred, the Whispering One, and Vengeful Pharaoh into his graveyard. Ronnie draws Mindstone and plays Mountain. Ronnie taps Ancient Tomb, taking another 2 damage, and casts Mindstone. Ronnie casts Siege Gang Commander, making 3 Goblin tokens. June takes 3 damage from Mana Crypt during his upkeep and draws Disenchant. June plays Plains and casts Skull Clamp. June clamps a soldier, killing it, and draws Silverblade Paladin and Stripmine. June disenchants Ronnie's Liquid Metal Coating, and in response, Ronnie makes June's Skull Clamp an artifact. June attacks Rob with his 5 soldier tokens, and then activates Windbrisk Heights before damage, putting Captain of the Watch onto the battlefield. Captain makes 3 more soldiers when it enters. Rob takes a total of 10 damage from the attacking soldiers. Then Rob puts Vengeful Pharaoh on top of his library and kills one of the soldiers. Chris Enlightened Tutors for Mirari's Wake at the end of June's turn. Chris draws Mirari's Wake, plays Forest, and casts Mirari's Wake. Rob draws Vengeful Pharaoh and casts Mindless Automaton. Ronnie draws Mountain, plays it, and casts Kiki Jiki the Mirror Breaker, but forgets that June can cast Elesh Norn next turn. Ronnie attacks Rob with 3 goblins, and Rob blocks 1 with his construct. Ronnie throws one of the goblins at the automaton response using Siege Gang Commander's ability, and Rob takes 2 damage from the unblocked goblins. June rolls damage from the Mana Crypt during his upkeep, and then draws Plains and plays it. June casts Elesh Norn, killing everything else on the battlefield. June attacks Chris with everything, dealing Chris a total of 28 damage. Chris draws and plays Strip Mine and casts his own Elesh Norn. Chris then strips one of June's plains. Rob draws Decree of Pain and plays Swamp. Ronnie draws Emrakul's Hatcher and sacks his Mind Stone to draw Mindclaw Shaman and casts it, again tapping Ancient Tomb, taking 2 damage. The Shaman immediately dies when it enters. With the Shaman's trigger, Ronnie targets Rob, who reveals Decree of Pain, which Ronnie casts, clearing the board of all creatures and drawing Ronnie a lot of cards. Ronnie Vandal blasts June's Mana Crypt. Ronnie casts Expedition Map and plays Valakut the Molten Pinnacle and then discards at the end of his turn. June draws Honor of the Pure and casts Stone Hero Giant. Chris draws Perilous Forays and casts his commander. Rob draws Dark Hatchling and casts Vengeful Pharaoh. Ronnie draws Skred and taps Ancient Tomb and casts Emrakul's Hatcher, making 3 Eldrazi spawn tokens. Ronnie Skred's June's Stone Hero Giant, killing it. Ronnie casts Oxidal Scrap Melter and blows up June's Skull Clamp when it enters. June draws and cracks Windswept Heath, paying a life and putting plains onto the battlefield. June casts Honor of the Pure and Grand Abolisher. During his upkeep, Chris makes 5 Sand Warrior tokens and draws Xenagos the Reveler. Chris casts Lovisa Cold Eyes, giving his warriors haste. Chris pumps his warriors with Oran Reef, making his Sand Warriors 5/5s. Chris then attacks June with all of his warriors, dealing June 25 damage. Rob draws and plays Swamp, and then casts his commander. Ronnie draws Chaos Warp and casts Helm of Possession. June draws Mirroring Crusader and casts it. Chris draws and plays Moss Warp Bridge, hiding away Doubling Season. Chris casts Perilous Forays. Chris then casts Xenagos and pluses it, giving him 7 mana. Chris casts Craterhoof Behemoth, giving all of Chris's creatures +8. Chris attacks June with 1 Sand Warrior and Hazezon, Rob with 4 Sand Warrior tokens, and Ronnie with Craterhoof and Lovisa. Ronnie Chaos Warps Craterhoof, revealing Wheel of Fortune off the top of Chris's library. Rob and June both die from damage. At the end of Chris's turn, Ronnie sacks an Eldrazi and gains control of Hazezon with Helm of Possession. Ronnie draws and plays a Mountain, dealing Chris 3 damage from Valakut. Ronnie then attacks Chris, finishing him off, winning the game for Kiki Jiki.
Do you have a board wipe in your hand? Do you have a board wipe in your hand?
Are you casting something? I have a board wipe in my hand.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, playing this helped me.
Do it. You should do that on me.
Mindclaw Shaman.
He dies.
And it dies.
Decree of Pain.
Wow. Holy shit!
So draw 7, 8, 9, 10 cards.
What happened?